What's up, Jacob here. I am on a mission today to use artificial after a cold front on a windy day. Now, the past couple days I have fished live shrimp because there has just been a terrible cold front. The water temp has been absolutely freezing, and I just wanted to give myself the best chance to catch fish that I possibly could, and I thought that was on live shrimp. Now, we are using the next best thing to live shrimp, so I'm not steering too far off the path. I've got a Z-Man shrimp with a little jig head on there. This is the trout eye jig head, I think is what it's called, and I absolutely love that jig head. And got some Procure shrimp scent to put on there. What we're mainly targeting is trout. We're in some deep backwater canals that have a bunch of docks on the sides, and there's 2 bridges that I'm gonna fish as well. Now, for me personally, I'm sure many people will disagree, but I thoroughly enjoy catching fish on artificial more than live bait. Now, I've fished live bait a ton, and that's just because there's certain situations where I just think it would work better. But when it comes to what I prefer, I do enjoy throwing artificial more just because it just feels more rewarding when I catch a fish on artificial rather than using live bait. So I'm really gonna put this lure to the test and see if we can catch solid fish on artificial right after a cold front. The water temp is 65, which is like 8 degrees warmer than it has been the past couple days, so I feel pretty good about it. I think we can catch some solid fish today. That being said, let's get our lines in the water and get after it. We're fishing docks in a canal today. A little bit deeper water, kind of wind protected because it's super windy today. There we go. Little troutski. And that bait is pretty big for you, buddy. Saw some bait getting hit over there, so I decided to cast, and sure enough, little homie was chilling. There we go. Seems like a, okay, it's not a better trout, but it's another trout. It seemed better at first. That's 2 trout on this. See if we can find a big one mixed up in here. I don't use Procure often, but when I think the fishing is gonna be a little more difficult, I like to try to make it easier on me, so I use it. And I've tried different types of fish scent, but that one, the Procure, just seems to stay on a lot better than some of the others that I've used before. So what I'm doing is just casting out there, letting it sink a little bit. Oh, that was a nice hit. And because I know there's trout, I know they typically like little twitches, letting it sink to the bottom, then kind of twitching it on the way back up. Oh. That trout wanted it. He struck that so hard. When it comes to like sight fishing for redfish, snook, black drum, sometimes all you have to do is just cast this in front of those fish and just let it sit there and they'll do the work for you. But when fishing for trout, they do typically like a little bit more action. These little trout are hammering this bait right now. Sometimes I'll hit it on that little drop down like this one did. Oh, that's a better one than the other 2. All right, we're getting bigger. As I was saying, oftentimes I'll hit it on the way down like this guy did. And then if it does make it to the bottom, that is when you can sit there and twitch it back up. When catching trout, always make sure to wet your hand first before touching him to protect that slime that's on his body. Now, good and a bad thing about trout. When you catch one, there's typically more in that area. Now, you're gonna have to probably weed through a bunch of small ones to hopefully catch a big one that could be mixed up, but at the end of the day, you're catching fish, so can you really complain too much? There we go. All right, so I've retied and put this lure on my little 1K. I kind of really hope we catch a pretty solid fish because I really want to test the limits of what this bad boy can do. There was 2 dolphins right behind me, so I am taking a little break just because I don't want to make these dolphins stick around and try to eat any fish that I'm reeling in. So once I see these dolphins disappear, we'll get back at it. Now, these dolphins were swimming around right where those trout were, so I have a feeling those trout could have moved, getting away from those dolphins. There we go. There's a troutski. All right, I think those dolphins have moved enough to where I feel pretty comfortable fishing again. Oh, and they're on their way back. Oh, and I hooked up. It's the nicest one I've caught too. All right, I'm not sure where those dolphin are right now. I'm gonna throw this guy over here in the bridge. There's another troutski. Oh, that dolphin came for him. Stay right here, buddy. That dolphin is here ready for him. I'm getting hammered over there. Oh, that dolphin's gonna be speeding over here to get this fish. He hammered it. I haven't done this yet, but I was just thinking how annoying it would be to, when your leader is like this, when you have to snip that line, how annoying it would be to cut the wrong one and have to retie your leader. Which honestly, I'm very surprised I haven't done that yet. But now I probably jinxed myself for the next Tom tie-in. Now I just tied this on to my 3K instead of my 1K because I am fishing docks now. And I don't want to hook a decent sized fish and it bring my little 1K into some pylons or something. All right, let's get some more of this jelly goodness on here. There we go. Just trout in before the dolphins get here. That's a nicer trout too. Oh, please don't get eaten. That's a little trout. Actually, that's not even a trout. That is a really big pinfish, and this dolphin wants it. I'm try to throw him under this dock. That dolphin wasn't anywhere near him. He's right here looking for it. All right, things have been slow for quite a while. Haven't really caught much, so I've made it back to where I was catching those trout earlier, where the dolphins were bothering me. I have not seen those dolphins yet, so. Well, that was a nice hit. There we go. That seems like a better trout. Yeah, that's definitely a better trout. There we go. That's easily the best trout I've caught all day. That is a beautiful trout right there. Off he goes. Oh, that was a nice hit. That's a good fish. That's a really good fish. I think it's a trout, just a good one. Barely hooked. Dude, that is such, oh, the hook came right out when I got him in the boat. Not a giant, but compared to the other trout I've been catching, that's a pretty freaking nice one. I'm gonna go ahead and get back in the water pretty quick. See how long he is. He's probably not gonna like this. So that's a 16-inch trout right there. Get him back on his merry way. So what's cool about that is even though that's not a giant fish, that is quite a bit bigger than any of the fish I was catching the other day. And that was on artificial. That wasn't even on a live shrimp, which for me personally, I always prefer to catch fish on artificial than I do something live, just because it's a lot more rewarding when you're using artificial, because there's just more that you have to do in order to make that fish want to eat. Oh, that was another really good eat. I don't think he's as big as the last one. That's another nice trout. It's actually getting smaller as I reel him in, but dang, he ate that so hard. One sucker was hungry. We may not be catching giants, but we're catching some fish. We're throwing artificials. It's been pretty cold. The water temperature right now is 65, which a few days ago it was 58. So starting to see a little more aggression in these fish, which is a good sign for these days to come. That was a nice eat. There we go. Seems like a better trout. Not a giant, but a nice little trout. There we go. Not a bad one either. I like a 14-inch trout. Yeah, because I caught him back up in here, I'm gonna throw one more cast up here. See if maybe this is where all the trout have been hiding. Oh. That was another really nice eat. Okay, so there's some decent trout back here. Another beautiful trout. So we're catching a lot. And we're honestly catching some decently sized ones, just no mondos yet. Which, usually with trout, it's kind of hard to find the big ones because you got to weed your way through all the smaller ones first. But honestly, for the weather that we're having today, I cannot complain. Oh, it's another nice trout. I think this one's even bigger than the last one. He's thick. Oh, he popped off. I wanted to show him off. That was a nice one. That might have been bigger than the other one. This pocket's got trout though. There we go. Dude, we are slaying trout right here in this spot. I'm thankful they keep popping off.